So first of all, I want to welcome everyone to Fayetteville Police Department in order to yet again celebrate the hard work that's going behind what we do to keep our community safe. Back in last year, the fall, you remember we came to you talking about using techniques in our code case. We have another case. Detective DeShields is going to go into detail. Speaking of in 2009 and 2010, where we had a rapist terrorizing our community, basically. So he's going to go into further details on that, and as we go further, we'll be able to answer a lot more questions of the techniques of Parabon that we're doing to keep our community safe. Detective DeShields.
Good morning. So, as Chief stated, June of 2009 to November of 2010, we had a series of sexual assaults here in Fayetteville, the Cumberland County area, and Hope Mills area as well. Today, we've actually charged on 9 of these cases. Fayetteville has, we've charged on 9 of our cases. Initially, getting this, we did a great workup with our prosecuting office, District Attorney Billy West and Alicia Marks, as far as going over the cases, verifying everything is very, very much solid. On top of that, gathering DNA to find our suspect, Mr. Johnnie Green. We worked very well with the North Carolina State Crime Lab. They were very, very fast in their results. It took 7 days, really from when we received his DNA for us to get the confirmation to come back today. So we're very, very pleased on that.
All right.
Well, good morning. Today sends a resounding message that the City of Fayetteville, Cumberland County, as well as our Attorney General's office is committed. We are committed here in Fayetteville to having a safe and secure environment. We'd like to congratulate the Chief and the great work of the Fayetteville Police Department to stay committed to making our streets safer and giving a safe and secure community for all of our citizens. And so today we are honored to have our Attorney General Josh Stein here, who has been committed, and without his help in the collaborative efforts with our District Attorney Billy West, today would not be possible. So at this time, I'll give way to Attorney General Stein.
Mayor, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you all for being here for this important announcement. Today stands for the proposition of the power of persistence, the power of partnership, and the power of DNA. Today, at least 7 cold cases, and likely a number more, are now very warm. I want to thank Chief Gina Hawkins. I want to thank Sheriff Wright, Chief Arciardo, and District Attorney Billy West. They are deserving of our congratulations and appreciations. These cases are 9 and 10 years old, but they never stopped working to deliver justice and to bring public safety to Cumberland County. I want to also give special thanks to the officer and to Lieutenant Summerdike. The Special Victims Unit here at Fayetteville PD is working tirelessly to bring justice for the victims. I want to thank everyone for their hard work in solving this crime spree. Upwards of 11 sexual assaults occurred here in Cumberland County in 2010 and 2011. They were terrifying the community, and now the people of Cumberland County can sleep safe knowing that the perpetrator of these heinous crimes is incarcerated. I want to thank my team at the State Crime Lab. They are dedicated scientists who has worked closely with Fayetteville PD, Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, and the Hope Mills Police Department. It is another instance of cooperation. The Fayetteville Police Department recently sent, about a week ago, a sample to the State Crime Lab for analysis, and they turned it around as quickly as they possibly could and linked the DNA of that suspect to 7 different sexual assaults that occurred in this community in 2009 and 2010. I am proud of the work that led to this arrest and know that the criminal justice system will now work to see this case through to the end. As this case stands for an important potential victory if a conviction is achieved, it also underscores the work that is left to do. We did a count about a year ago and discovered that there were 15,000 untested sexual assault kits sitting on the shelves of local law enforcement across North Carolina. And I just heard that there are none in Cumberland County at this point, which is an incredible achievement of the local leadership here in Cumberland County. When we test these old kits, we solve cold cases. A 47-year-old homicide murder in Johnston County just last week. A 31-year-old rape here in Fayetteville a couple of months ago. A 29-year-old rape in Winston-Salem. A 30-year-old rape in Charlotte. These are crimes that have been reopened, and now we have developed strong leads because of DNA. We have to test these kits. The State Crime Lab has raised about $3 million in grant funds to begin the outsourcing of the kits. We've developed and implemented a tracking system so that going forward we know exactly how many kits there are and where they are in the process. And we are partnering with the legislature to get the money we need so that once and for all we can eliminate the backlog here in North Carolina and take steps to make sure that it never develops again. The important work on this case sends three important messages. It tells the rapist that we will never stop working to try to bring you to justice. It tells the victims that their crimes matter, their cases matter, and that we will do everything we can to bring justice to them. And it tells the community that we will do everything in our power to keep people safe. It's my honor to be here with these important leaders and my pleasure to bring forward District Attorney Billy West.
Good morning. I want to thank just everyone who has worked together for this arrest that we've been able to make in these cases. I want to thank the Attorney General for his leadership statewide in these cases and the successes that we've had here in Cumberland County and Johnston County last week and many other places across the state. We've also worked very closely with the Fayetteville Police Department, Detective DeShields, the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, as well as the Hope Mills Police Department in this set of arrest to be able to ensure that we have proper evidence to go forward and strong cases to go forward. And it's been a long process of justice for these victims. And for the District Attorney's Office, this really starts the process. These are just allegations at this point. These are just charges. And we have a lot of work to do to try to bring justice for these victims in these particular cases. But I cannot say enough about what we've done here in Cumberland County to have no cases, no sexual assault kits that are left to be tested. Very proud that we've been a leader across the state in that area, and that we'll continue to try to get justice for our victims of all our cases, but particularly these sexual assault cases where we've been able to test these old rape kits. And I do want to thank the Attorney General, also thank the federal government for the grant funding they've provided in this area, and also thank and encourage the legislature to stay engaged in this issue. I think we've got a bill up there this session that we're trying to get through for funding in a process where all the counties, all 100 counties in our state, can do what we've been able to do here in Cumberland and get justice for victims of sexual assault. So I thank you for being here, and I thank everyone again for the teamwork that helped accomplish this.
Good morning. The Hope Mills Police Department is very appreciative of the opportunity to be here today, and we're also very appreciative to Attorney General Mr. Stein. Obviously, District Attorney Mr. West, always been very supportive. In addition, our strong relationship with the Fayetteville Police Department and the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office has gone a long way towards our resolution in this case. And like Mr. West just said, this is the first step on a long road to seeking justice for these victims. But it's a very large step, and we appreciate all the assistance and support. Detective DeShields, Lieutenant Summerndike, all their hard work that have gone into these cold cases, and the support that they've offered to Hope Mills Police Department. Thank you very much.
We'll take any questions that you may have.
Yeah, question for either Detective Shields or John Summerndike. Let's talk about the mechanics of this particular arrest. The name of the individual who was arrested, was he just out and about, had no idea, and is this one of these cases where you used a family tree to backtrack who he is? Yes.
So once again, Parabon Labs assisted with this greatly. Without their assistance, this case probably might not have been solved. With that, we were able to come up with a person of interest being Mr. Johnnie B Green. From there, we saw that he had an outstanding robbery warrant from the 1990s that had never been served. We worked diligently with the prosecutor's office here to have those warrants redrawn. From that and from that arrest, his DNA was then collected and, of course, uploaded into CODIS. That right there gave us our first CODIS hit notification. We then grabbed his DNA at a later time for our one-to-one comparison. So as of this CODIS hit coming back, as of today, he has been in jail for the 1995 rape.
What was his response when you told him he's being arrested on all these other charges?
It's still an open investigation. It wasn't really much said, but the investigations are still open. We still have a lot more to do. So as time goes on, we'll probably get further information from him.
So we have law enforcement from Fayetteville and Hope Mills. I'm assuming that this crosses the jurisdictions in terms of where he did offenses. You talk about that a little bit?
Correct.
Can you tell us about where he was and give us an example of a few of the cases where he attacked an individual or something along those lines, or how did it work?
Well, the motive and the way he did things were pretty much the same or similar in pretty much all of our cases. Varying around the same times of night, locations in general. Like I said, we had numerous here in Fayetteville, some in the Bragg and Kane area, Pamela Lee Drive and Bland area, Cliffdale Road, Morrington Road area. Pretty much scattered all about. So nothing just exactly spot deliberate for where he was offending.
I know it's open investigation, but is he breaking into a place? Does he have a weapon? Give us some nuts and bolts of how it happened.
Okay, thus far we haven't heard of anything finding a weapon being involved, but home invasions were occurring during various times of night, early in the morning, and then these assaults would take place.
Were there 7 or 9 victims?
Okay, so we have charged on 9 victims today. Fayetteville has.
And Hope Mills did.
Has 1, and Cumberland County has 2.
So what's the total count?
We're still investigating total approximately 12 to 13.
You said he had an outstanding warrant that was never served.
Correct.
What was that, and that was for robbery?
Correct, yes ma'am.
Whose jurisdiction was that?
That occurred here in Fayetteville.
Do we know why that warrant was never served?
No ma'am, it was just something that that had gone unserved for a while. He was never located, and then working with Parabon Labs, coming with a person of interest, we realized, hey, he actually has a warrant outstanding. So like I said, we worked with our district attorney's office and redrew those warrants, which got us here today.
Chief, could we have you respond to the fact that we don't have any more kids? That is a feather in the cap of this community and a lot of hard work that went into play. Talk about that a little bit.
So that is definitely intentional. In the aspect, first of all, under the leadership of Lieutenant Summerdike, being able to start from having a backlog of kits, huge. Being able to have a plan to how to address that backlog, applying for the grant, focusing on that. But even after that, having kits on our shelves, and it was just, how long ago, about 6 months ago, 4 months? January, when we said, there's no reason to have any more kits on our shelves. All of them are gone to be tested. So, and that's the plan we have now, to always continuously push our kits forward, and that is purely intentional in the effort to make sure our community is safe. There's another case right here where we have cold cases that we would not be able to solve without this technique that we're utilizing. So,
Attorney General, you said there are 15,000 across the state. What's the holdup? How come we can't get the funding, or what is it going to take to make what's happened here in Fayetteville and Cumberland County happen across the state?
The count of 15,000 occurred about a year ago. We went through an extensive process at the State Crime Lab to reach out to every law enforcement agency in the state to try to find out what their number was. But it's a very rough snapshot because there's no systematic way of counting these kids. That's why we've developed and implemented a tracking system so that going forward, we will know exactly how many kits there are and where they are in the process. And that transparency will lead to greater accountability. It requires funds. It's about $700 to test an individual kit. And we have secured about $3 million in grant funds. And I'm very pleased that the North Carolina House and the governor include an additional $6 million in their budgets. The budget's now over at the North Carolina Senate, and we hope that they will agree and keep that $6 million in the budget so that we can hopefully get to the point where we've eliminated the backlog here in North Carolina statewide so that the rest of the state can be like Cumberland County, and we can be guaranteed that it will never develop again.
Well, clearly Fayetteville is number one on the list in terms of who's done the best job.
Yeah.
Who's the worst?
I don't know that that's a helpful way to look at it. There are other jurisdictions that are doing a good job. I mean, Fayetteville clearly top of the class, but Asheville is doing a very good job. Winston-Salem is doing a focused job. And what we want is for this to just happen statewide. Here's what we know. We've outsourced about 1,000 kits. And when we outsource the kits, we make hits on the CODIS database at about a 10% rate of return. So conceivably, if we outsource all 15,000 kits, we might be able to connect a known individual to about 1,500 separate sexual assaults, which would be incredibly powerful and it would be the most effective thing we could do for public safety in North Carolina.
And my last question is, if that occurs, Billy, and the state, in terms of the backlog that it would create in the court system, are you able to handle that?
That's Billy's problem.
Give me an idea of what that means to you when you have all these charges brought to an already overloaded judicial system.
I think we are able to handle it. It does present a challenge. I want to recognize Alicia Marks, who heads up our cold case sexual assault unit. And the difficult thing about these cases is that they're old. And in many cases, they're 5, 10, 15 years old. And even when you have the CODIS hit and the confirmation on a one-to-one DNA hit, you've still got to put the case together and make the case strong enough that you can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. So there is a challenge there, but we have found that these victims still want justice. They're willing to work with us and go forward in the case, and that they are old cases, but we are able to put them together. And in many cases, this is a crime that's done in the dark of night. It's a crime that usually results from a home invasion or something like that. So there's not a lot of witnesses and things to these crimes anyway. So we're able to put the cases together and move forward.
If there are no other questions, we'll also be sending out a press release, and that will contain some of the information from today, charges, arrest photographs. Again, there may be others out there that were a victim of this suspect. Please push that photo out so they can call, and they can still call anonymously to report that. No other questions. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.